Hello, welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at some more top cores for the Open Great League. I already made a part 1 of this series and I asked them if you want to see another one, and honestly, like, the support on the video was insanely good, so why not do another one? Today we're gonna take a look again at some top cores for the Open Great League. I already also made a video towards good say-subs, so if you want to combine them and make your own teams, those videos definitely going to be something that you want to watch. Anyway, if you enjoy those type of videos and if you're excited for the new season, feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you have not already, as we can start right into the first core. Mchamp is going to be one of the Pokemon that I missed the last time around, and honestly, this Pokemon is definitely someone that you don't want to miss for the next season. This Pokemon is going to be insane, running a double legacy moveset of Karate Chop plus the Stone Edge with the buffed Cross Chop from last season, making it one of the biggest meta threats for the new season, especially as a lot of the other counter users before are going to be gone. No more Annihilate that you have to worry about with that moveset that would completely get destroyed by Annihilate. So this Pokemon going to be insanely good and for sure something you want to run for the next season. What do you want to pair with it? You're going to have a weakness of Fairy type Pokemon, you're going to have a weakness of Flying type Pokemon, you're going to have the weakness of Psychic type Pokemon. What type is going to be able to resist it all? Of course, Steel typing. And so Lone Sandslash here is going to be a perfect combination for this Pokemon for sure. It's going to help it out with basically everything, making the worst matchup for you. Another Mchamp. Gastron is something you can definitely deal with the Mchamp as well. Malamar going to be very neutral for both of them. And so basically this is going to be a near perfect core that you can run for the upcoming season. Moving on to Licky. This thing is going to be insanely bulky. This thing is going to have a rollout body slam Shadow Ball. And what I kind of like to do as well with those type of Pokemon is, especially for Licky, which is ideally even like a say-swap, you can use something else with the other Pokemon in the back then as well. But generally speaking, yeah, just really like to swap into Pokemon. This thing going to have access to Shadow Ball, so I kind of want to have a Pokemon that also is going to be a little bit of a Ghost type. So Golurk is going to help us out quite a bit with the weaknesses as well. Weakness, of course, mainly to Steel type Pokemon because we cannot really hit it offensively, but Fighting type Pokemon because the only thing that hits us, yeah, defensively, because we are only weak to Fighting type. Golurk going to help us out quite a bit with that. And of course, as Golurk is going to be kind of weak to those other Ghost type Pokemon, you're going to have Licky to kind of deal with it as you have a normal type with Shadow Ball, and so both of them going to be perfect together. If you build a team, I would recommend you to go for Golurk in the lead and Licky as your say-swap, or like as a Pokemon in the back. I think that's going to be the best way of this one working out. And as you're going to see the core breakers forward, Pangoro is basically the only one that really kind of core breaks this one, but actually even Pangoro doesn't enjoy Mud Slap in 2-shield scenario of Golurk, so you can just stay in, spam Mud Slap, and you're most likely actually going to be able to just farm down in the 2-shield scenario. Galarian Whistling is going to be next. This Pokemon is going to be one that you definitely kind of want to take a look at as well. Having double buff Fairy Wind Brutal Swing going to make it a very strong Pokemon. Again, weak to like Psychic type Pokemon, weak to Ground type Pokemon, so we are gonna go ahead and go for our own Ground type, which can kinda deal with most of the other meta threats right now for it. For example, Cowbank you're going to be able to beat, which usually is going to be a little bit of a trickier one, but also just generally speaking gonna give you the coverage that you kinda need to break apart also something like a Registeel, which you usually would not be able to beat with like those Steel type Pokemon that you have now coverage for, which is going to be very, very good for you. So this core again doesn't actually really have the biggest breaker, other maybe the Sandslash that we saw already earlier on. Everything else is going to be something that we have at least a neutral matchup with against as well. For example, Azumarill still going neutral against the Galarian Whistling. Fairy Wind player off going to be neutral. I think you can even win this as a Galarian Whistling. You have the Sandslash, which is again the only bigger issue I guess for this team. But yeah, that is going to be a thing for most of the teams currently. Aurora is going to be fine for the Whistling, and basically everything else is going to be fine for either Diggersby or the Whistling. Moving on to the next one, we're going to have Drapion, a very highly ranked on PvP poke. This Pokemon is going to have access to Poison, Sting, Crunch, and Awkward Tail, being a very strong Pokemon, especially in my opinion as a say-swap, but also here in the lead, or maybe as a say-swap. We're going to have Chestnut in the back or in the lead, depending on how you want to build the core around it. But Chestnut, being able to resist the ground typing, the only weakness of Drapion, is going to help out quite a bit. But also Chestnut definitely going to benefit quite a bit from the coverage that Drapion is going to have and the typing that Drapion Drapion is going to have. As you're going to be weak against Pokemon like the Clefable or Mandibuzz, the typing of Drapion definitely going to help you out against those, as you have super effective Poison Sting from the Drapion, as well as, of course, for Mandibuzz, that the Dark-type moves are going to be resisted while you hit them for neutral damage. Is going to help you out quite a bit. And so, the Pokemon that are very good against Chestnut are usually very, like where Drapion is definitely going to shine against. So, and also, of course, the weakness of Drapion is going to get covered by Chestnut, so it's going to be a very solid core. If you're going to take a look at the Pokemon that can really break this one here, you don't really have any. Quillfish, very neutral against Drapion. Actually, even like Chestnut has to play against it. Warrain, Chestnut has to play against it, very neutral for Drapion. Like Hakoma, I guess, is going to be one of the more difficult ones, but even Talonflame, Drapion has access to Awkward here, so it's not going to be a core breaker at all. And so this team looks like a lot of fun, or like this core is looking like a lot of fun. Wick Tough. I kind of had it already in the last time around as well, but I kind of want to talk about it as well here. Mainly I had it in as a Pokemon to combine with someone else. But Wick Tough with the buffed Swift is going to be for sure a Pokemon you want to have for the next season. Going to be very strong together, especially with the Runerigus or the Golurk. Again, I think I had the Golurk the last time around, but here Runerigus kind of works the same. Runerigus and Golurk both have the weakness to Ghost-type moves, but also both are weak to Dark-type Pokemon, and Wick Tough is an expert to beat both of them. So those cores going to be very, very strong, and there is literally not a single full core breaker for this team. Again, I guess maybe the biggest one would be the Alolan Sandslash, which in my opinion is going to be one of the best Pokemon to run for the next season as well. Alolan Sandslash would be very surprised if this Pokemon wouldn't be in most of the teams. Taking a look now at the Donn fan, getting buffed with Mud Slap, but also the Trailblaze is going to help this Pokemon out quite a bit, especially with the coverage that you have. Trailblaze is going to be important for the next season. This thing is going to be very, very strong, especially buffed Mud Slap is going to hit super hard in the current meta. But you still got a nerf, which is definitely okay for it, because you kind of want to have a nerf on this Pokemon, otherwise it's too broken. But one Pokemon that pairs quite well with it is going to be Toxapex. Donn fan, having the main weakness of water as well as grass types, going to definitely benefit from Toxapex as well as Ice Pokemon, of course. Toxapex is going to be able to resist nearly everything of that, but Toxapex itself being weak to ground type Pokemon where Donphan's neutral, but also electric type Pokemon where Donphan can completely shut them down, is going to benefit from the Donphan and especially the damage output of it. Also, Donphan is a Pokemon that definitely enjoys quite a lot of shields, and so you can use your shields there, while you still have an insane bulky Pokemon in the back that doesn't really require shields, and so this is going to be a nearly perfect core again. Aurora is going to be a Pokemon that I think Donphan also going to be able to win in 2-shield scenario, and I think basically everything on the list Donphan has a lot of play, Ferrothorn being basically the only core breaker. Dusknoir is going to be next. Dusknoir is going to be one of my favorite Pokemon actually in just generally Pokemon. I think it's a very cool Pokemon, mainly also because of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. If you played the game, you know. But this thing, getting access to Astonish, plus also the buffed Shadow Punch is going to help it out so much for the upcoming season. But it's going to be a little bit tricky to play this Pokemon with the current meta, as Mandibuzz is going to be very difficult for you, and Pangoro going to be very difficult for you. And so there is only one Pokemon that really going to help you out here, and it's going to be Clefable. I guess you could argue of going for Wick Tough again here, but Clefable is going to help you out, especially with the pacing, while he's going to be very, very good, being the hardest answers to both Pangoro as well as the Mandibuzz. Core breakers for this one, honestly, I don't think any of them are really core breakers. Like Diggersby is going to be neutral for Clefable, Licky going to be neutral for Clefable. Most of them are very, very neutral for either of them. So yeah, again, I don't think there's really a big core breaker for this core here, and that is going to be great. Togetic is honestly a Pokemon I think people don't really talk enough about. Like Togetic I think is going to be a very strong Pokemon for the upcoming season. By the looks of things here as well, it's going to be one of the best answers to Gastrodon, which I think is going to be one of the biggest meta threats for the next season. So I would imagine Togetic here has a lot of play, especially also with like the upcoming maybe Sure 6 pick 3 meta, as this Pokemon will have quite a lot of good things to do here. We're going to have the Gastrodon as a perfect core together with it. I said already that Gastrodon is one of the Pokemon that you can easily beat with it. Well, also you can kind of combine them together, as the weakness here might be Ice-type Pokemon, Abomasnow. Very good core breaker for the upcoming season as well. But yeah, this is definitely going to be a very solid core that you don't want to miss for the next season. Ahriados. Ahriados is going to be also a Pokemon that I look forward to the most, honestly, because Poison Sting, Lunge, and Trailblaze look like a lot of fun, and also like the win-loss ratio looks like a lot of fun as well. Looking very good against the current meta of Water-type plus Fairy-type Pokemon, breaking them all, but also you're going to have double super effective Lunge against the Malamar, one-shotting them for sure, making this a very solid Pokemon. Combining it with one of my favorite Pokemon again is going to be Greninja. Greninja is going to work out super well with it. Basically destroying also something like a Mandibuzz, which is something you don't want to face as an Ahriados, but also benefiting from the lunge, which is going to allow you to maybe debuff the opponent if they swap into you, and then Greninja can take some hits a little bit easier. But of course, Greninja being weak to fighting and fairy, Ahriados is going to be able to cover the Donn easily and make it a very solid core for sure. Mchamp is not an issue. I wouldn't even say that Jumpluff is really a big issue for this team either. I guess Jumpluff might be the biggest one for this one here, but otherwise this is going to be a very solid core to run for the upcoming season. Now we're going to take a look at the final one. I think it's going to be Oranguru. Oranguru is going to have a lot of play for the upcoming season thanks to the Brutal Swing buff and the Trailblaze buff, making it a very solid, even safe up for the upcoming season, I would say. Basically, best Pokemon that you can kind of put together with it is going to be a Azumarill. Azumarill is going to be the one that can destroy those Dark-type Pokemon. So what you can do is you can go for a Azumarill lead. You can use Oranguru, actually I would say is better here as a closer for this team, especially with the Trailblaze buff. And then you can use something as a safe stop that can bait out potential Dark-type Pokemon, like Double Kick variant of Girafarig would make a lot of sense with it, with like something like Thunderbolt for the Mandibuzz. And so I think this is going to be a very interesting core for sure. And this should also be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.